let's have the beautiful first slide, the title slide of the new presentation. And we can appreciate this. Now, I'm going to try to split my screen here. Just give me a moment. I got a little late this morning because I was doing some things for Asian Classics Institute. So I have to get my PowerPoint up here. Let's see. Okay. Great. And I wanted to ask people if anybody actually got a chance to go to the mixed nuts session on Saturday. I had invited everyone, and I very much hoped, because it was Seiji's class, which is covering the Bodhisattva Charyavatara that we are working on, that some of our class members would be able to recite some Sanskrit in the class. And I know it was an awkward time for Asia and Russia. I think it was about 1 a.m. in the morning. And I'm so sorry that, no worries, Kathy. I'm so sorry that we didn't get to read any Sanskrit. I reminded Geshe 2 times, but I think he must have had other plans in mind. So fingers crossed, there's always next time. The schedule is a little irregular, and I get it once a month. We all do. So I'll check and see when the next Bodhisattva Charyavatara class is, and we'll see if we can connect more at that point. By the way, on this beautiful slide, if you look at the class title, what does BCA refer to? Open your mics and let me know. Does anybody know?
Bodhisattva Charyavatara.
Yes. Avatara. Exactly. It's much too long a word to keep writing, so you will often see it, in at least in our tradition, referred to as BCA. Okay, next slide. Just another note on the bija syllables that we were looking at last few weeks. Om, aha, hum. I wanted to show a Sam marker. And Sam is a Tibetan word that means boundary. And we basically put 4 boundary markers up in each of the cardinal directions when we go into retreat, to let the spirits know that we are doing a retreat and to please leave us alone. And this one, we're taught, because our tradition is so Tibetan, we're taught to draw them in Tibetan, but it's perfectly fine to put them in Sanskrit. And that's what I've done here for mine. It's the original language of Buddhism. Of course, the Buddha spoke it. And these are the seed syllables, right, Kathy? Yes. And this is the way you would handwrite Om, Aha, Hum, to make 4 of them to put up on your retreat boundaries. This one is a little the worse for wear. It went through a rainstorm, so I had to redraw the characters because the rain washed out the marker. And the grass, as Kathy notes in the chat, is kusha grass, which is the kind of grass the Buddha was sitting on when he became enlightened. And that piece of blue is the tape I used to attach it to my cabin. So just for interest's sake, if you the next time you do a retreat, instead of writing your tsam markers in Tibetan, write them in Sanskrit. You have everything you need to do that. Okay, next slide. Okay, deal. Mazal. A brief review of the hard and soft letters. The first two columns are hard, green, and the last three are soft. And this becomes important when we learn more about Sandhi, which we're going to do probably next week, depending on how today goes. And then, of course, the aspirated and unaspirated letters. This has to do with pronunciation. It doesn't have too much to do with orthography or how we're going to write things. But you just add a breath sound to the aspirated letters. So, and we're going to recite these. And one note, the sibilants, there are 3 sibilants. They are considered hard letters. Sorry. They are considered hard letters as well, but everything else is soft, semi-vowels and the okay, from left to right, open your mics and let's recite the main consonants. K, k, g, g, ta, ta, da, da, na, ta, ta, da, 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 pa, ba, ma. Very good. And just make sure to pay a little extra attention to making that more of an sound than an ah. But you did really well. All right. Does anybody want to recite these by themselves to us? Any volunteers?
I can try.
Yes. Who is that? Is that Elena?
Yep.
Okay, great.
All of them, yes?
All of them with the sound.
Mm-hmm. Ko, ko, go, go, nga. Cha, cha, ja, cha, nya. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Pa, pa, ba, ba, ma.
Great. Anybody else? One more. Come on. No? All right. I'm not going to force anybody, but think about it. It's fun and it's helpful to you and to others. All right. Next slide.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Christina, I have a question.
Yes.
I heard sometimes in the first line, they say nicht ang, ang. Nicht nga ang. Is it correct or not correct?
For the nasal,
the
5th column, the nasal?
Yeah.
First varga, the nasal?
First varga, yeah.
Well, that's more like the bija syllable question we had earlier, where the hung is just pronounced in that sort of ung way.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I feel it's much more correct to say no.
No. Mm-hmm.
With your tongue back in the guttural position and a soft no. It's a nasal letter, but it's not a nasalized vowel.
Okay, because with ung, it's more easier to pronounce when you
Yes.
have ung.
But I would say that pronunciation would be if we took this abugida entry, no, which is no ending, and we put it anusvara on it. So let's say we put a dot, an M and a dot on top of the NAM with a dot. Then I would say nong. But with an open syllable, it's more of a nga.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's strictly no.
Nga. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes. Very
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. So that's the value of anusvara. It actually nasalizes the vowel that it comes before it. And that's why the translation of anusvara is after sound. So the A would come before the anusvara, but the after sound represented by the anusvara would make it more nasal, right?
Okay.
It's we're really getting into the details of how to do this correctly. And it's very interesting how subtle and complex it is, isn't it? At least it is to me. Okay, let's try the next slide. So in mixed nuts, I guess I want to talk about this first. All right, just a little review of roots. The square root sign in front of the YUJ indicates this is a root form. Sometimes you will also see a hyphen after the J. Question? Okay. Now, if you're in a rush when you're typing something, you can just put a slash mark in front of the Y. That also indicates a root. And if you want to find that root sign, I have a Macintosh, and there's a way to do this in MS Word if you're using that. You go to Edit, all the way to the bottom to Emojis and Symbols. Then you scroll down all the way to the bottom of the groupings to Technical Symbols, and you will likely find a root symbol. Or you can just copy and paste it from somewhere in Google Images. Okay. Yeah, that is that the sign, the root sign marker, Kathy, that you were questioning? The roots? Yeah. So two alternatives. One is a little bit harder to find, and the other one is a good, quick way to do it. They both mean the same thing, that you're looking at a root syllable. Okay. So in the second bullet there, what does IE mean? Who remembers?
If in the European.
Yes. Who is that? Elena, Julia, Maria, Kathy?
Irina.
Karina. Okay.
Irina.
Irina. Say your name when you say something because I cannot see your beautiful faces. Thank you. There you go. Thank you for putting her picture up. Thank you. That helps a lot. Yes, Indo-European. So Indo-European roots are often similar to the Sanskrit roots. And you can see that however we pronounce this, I don't really know, yoig is very close to yuj. But sometimes they're very different. Even though Sanskrit is an Indo-European language, the roots are not always very similar. Here it is. So in mixed nuts, which is the tradition we're following in this organic Sanskrit class, Geshe often gives us the Sanskrit root, the Indo-European root, and the English language cognates. If anybody wants to find cognates in their own Indo-European languages, I'd be really happy to have those. So we're going to continue that tradition. And here the English cognates are words like yolk, jugular, which is the vein, arteries that I'm not a medical person, that link your brain to your heart. Zygote, which is some sort of a biological phenomenon where two cells join, and the word join itself. So, yes, Amirta.
I have a question,
Yes.
but I need
I need help with translation.
Yes. Which one? All the words or just some?
Я помню, что вы на прошлых уроках говорили, что корни на санскрите, их нужно запомнить наизусть. Я правильно понимаю, что их нужно запомнить наизусть, потому что в словах они не всегда узнаваемы, и их не всегда можно увидеть. Ну вот, что, как, например, йойк и
Christina, can you hear me?
join. Для
Christina,
меня не
can you
совсем
hear me?
понятно, что йойк и join здесь есть один корень.
Translation. I didn't switch channels.
Can you hear
Someone
me?
briefly summarize Amrita's question for me.
I maybe can translate, so for you it is better. So Amrita is asking, is she understood it correctly that we have to study and by memory, learn by memory the roots, because it is not always you can find out right away and not always visible. Like in this case, the joy and joy and yoik, it is like root, how to find it out, how to identify it. So do we need to memorize it?
That is a great question. The answer is no. Even Geshe Michael has not told me any stories about memorizing Indo-European roots. He says that when he rode the bus for 4 hours a day between New Jersey and New York City for work, he memorized 800 Sanskrit roots. But I think that is not something most of us could ever aspire to do. So I would say no. Here is the interesting thing. As you learn more vocabulary and you learn to look things up in a dictionary, we would use a Sanskrit English dictionary in this class. You might use a Sanskrit Russian one. You will find as part of the dictionary entry the Sanskrit root. As you learn some of them, especially the more common ones, and yuj is pretty common, it will help you when you encounter a new word in your translation effort, which has these letters in it, even though it's a different form. You can say, oh, this must have something to do with joining or uniting. And it helps to give you a hint about what the meaning may be. And we'll learn more about the combinations as we go ahead. For instance, yuj turns into yoga. So not all the letters are the same. But if you learn that gs and js can sort of interchange, and that oos and os are related, if you saw the word yoga in a text and you didn't know what it meant, you'd be able to have a good guess at the kind of meaning it was going to have. Now, the Indo-European roots are just a matter of interest. We're not going to really encounter them in our translation work, but Geshe likes to give us a broad sense of the language. So the Indo-European roots are of interest because they help us connect Sanskrit with, let's say, modern English through this medium of Indo-European roots. There is a wonderful dictionary of Indo-European roots by a scholar that I worked very, very briefly with at Harvard. His name is Calvert Watkins. I can put that in the text. And if you are really interested, look at this Indo-European root dictionary. I'll try to show my copy of it next week and look at Indo-European roots there. But do not think you need to memorize them. No, you will encounter the Sanskrit roots as part of your dictionary work, and they will help you, especially the more common ones. but don't worry about that. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, in Mixed Nuts, Geshe Michael talks a lot about declensions and conjugations. And declensions are what we do to nouns. We decline them according to what case they're in. Let's have the next slide. So today we're going to work with the declension of yoga. We've done this before, so this is review. So I hope you remember this chart from last time. It's a declension. We decline yoga. Here's a chart of yoga after it's declined. We need to memorize this declension, this declined form of a noun. So why am I saying decline, declension, etc. so many times? I want us to remember that we decline nouns and the different ways this word decline is used. Any questions about that? Okay. So, and Geshe gets declensions mixed up a lot with the other word, which I'm not going to say here. We said it earlier, the one that goes with verbs. So I want to make sure I imprint us on nouns and declensions. Now, one good thing about masculine nouns ending in short which is a word like yoga, is that these kind of nouns, this class or category of nouns, masculine nouns ending in short make up about maybe 75% of all Sanskrit nouns that you will encounter. And this to me is another gimme. If you remember, a gimme is an American slang term for a free gift. And the more free gifts we can get in Sanskrit, the better off we are. At least I feel that. So many, many nouns are this type of noun. Now, there are others. We'll get familiar with them. For instance, there are a lot of feminine nouns with different types. And then there are a couple of very unusual nouns which have declensions and other versions, other examples of their class, but they're a little bit rare. So as long as we get exposed to them, we won't have to work too hard with them. But this one is important, and we need to memorize this. So it's another great reason to create an index card, like a small flashcard for yourself. I made mine with I asked on one side and Devanagari on the other. It might take me an hour to make one card at the beginning of my studies, but that one card came in very handy as I added more declensions and studied more topics and issues. Kathy, look at that. That's gorgeous. Do you have Devanagari?
Many charts I made.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is great. And you will find them very handy and useful as we move through to figure out what form is what. Okay. So the name of this declension is masculine nouns ending in short I have studied other languages where they do a really nice job of counting the declensions and naming them, like declension 1 or declension 2, etc. But Sanskrit doesn't typically do that, so we have to have a long descriptive name for each declension. But we'll get to that. All right, there are 24 versions of the word in each declension of each Sanskrit noun. Masculine, feminine, neuter, ending in short short long all kinds of nouns. But this one has 24 as well. So we are going to recite this a couple of times. So pay attention to all the marks on the words. In language study, these marks are called diacritical marks. And you see in the very first one, the nominative singular, there's a diacritical mark under the h. Who remembers what that means?
Visarga?
Yeah, visarga.
Visarga.
Irina?
Yes.
Very good. And there's, let's just review them quickly. There's one, first thing, the column that goes down the left side, that is the names of the cases. And I've just put the first initial. So it's nominative, then accusative, instrumental, dative, ablative, genitive, locative, and vocative. We'll get more familiar with this as we review them. And I'll give you, I should have given you a chart with those, or at least a list of those names, but I'll do that for next time. So working across, what are the diacritical marks in the nominative plural and what do they mean?
Long e.
Yes. And we just said what the dot under the H means. What is that?
It is also aspirated, I think, the hash.
Sort of, but it has a particular name. And we said it for the nominative singular. That H with the dot under it. What is that called? Hint.
Visarga.
Yes, visarga. It's the very last vowel in our list of 16, sweet 16 vowels. So let's just quickly sing the vowel song once. You know I can't sing. Okay, open your mics, everybody. We can't tell who you are if everybody's reciting. And we'll sing the vowel song, okay? Here we go.
E, U,
R,
R, Ler,
A,
I,
O,
Aha.
Okay, so that last sound is visarga. And that is what the dot under the H is. So I don't think there's any other diacriticals in this particular declension, just long A's in some cases and visargas in others. Okay. So we'll go over other diacriticals as they come up. But here we go. We're going to recite this, and then I'm going to invite you to memorize it. And hopefully last time you memorized a bit of it. Ready? Okay. Across the top. Yoga. 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 Yogam.
Yogam.
Yoga.
Yogao.
Yogan.
Yogan.
Yogena.
Yogena.
Yogabhyam.
Yogabhyam.
Yogai.
Yogai.
Good aspiration there. Yogaya.
Yogaya.
Yogabhyam.
Yogavyam.
Yogebhyaha.
Yogebhyaha.
Yogat.
Yogat.
Yogabhyam.
Yogavyam.
Yogebhyaha.
Yogebhyaha.
Yogat.
Yogat.
Yogabhyam.
Yogavyam.
Yogebhyaha.
Yogebhyaha.
Yogasya.
Yogasya.
Yogayoho.
Yogayoho.
Yoganam.
Yoganam.
Yoge.
Yoge.
Yogayoho.
Yogayoho.
Yogeshu.
Yogeshu.
Actually, that one should be more like Yogeshu.
Yogeshu.
The last vowel is short. Okay, vocative. Yoga.
Yoga.
Yogao.
Yogao.
Yogaha.
Yogaha.
Great. And I missed a diacritical. Look at that. Locative plural. There is a diacritical mark under the S. So what does that indicate to us? What do we know about that?
Cerebral sha.
Cerebral varga. Third varga.
You'll need to unlock your computer first.
Oh, sorry, my computers are talking to me. Third varga, cerebral. And where's our tongue when we say that S?
Up to the brain.
Up to the brain. So somebody say that sound for me.
Sha.
Great.
Sha.
So that word would be yogeshu. And I have my drum.
Yogeshu.
Two long vowels and a short. Yogeshu. Yogeshu. Elena.
Yes, thank you. I have a question. Why we have yoga yoho? Why it is not ha
Good
and o?
Good question. The visarga is a breath sound, but it takes the sound of the vowel before it. So visargaha, the word visargaha, if we put it in the nominative singular, which would have a visarga at the end, would take the A sound, visargaha. But with the genitive dual, there's a previous vowel of O, so the visarga will have that sound.
Okay.
Yoga
ho. Okay.
Now look at the instrumental plural. How would you pronounce that with that visarga?
Yoga he. He.
What's the preceding vowel?
Yogai.
I.
Yoga hi. I.
The h sound would take the I, so it'd be hi.
Okay, yoga hi.
Well, not exactly yet. Yogai hai.
Yogai hi. Okay.
The I are not two separate vowels. They're one vowel written this way. And that is the verdi.
And nominal plural, it's like yoga ha.
Yes, it's a longer sound.
Longer sound, but end is ha, just ha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yoga.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so each visarga in a real word, as opposed to just learning the vowel song, when it's in a real word, you pronounce it with the preceding vowel sound, but very softly and very subtly. So it's not an actual syllable, it's just a breathing sound. Okay, so let's go through this a little bit more. So this word yoga has a long vowel in its stem here. So every first syllable in this word will be long. So yoga, yoga. And we don't count the h as an extra syllable. Visarga is a strange phenomenon. And I think that's why Geshe Michael de-emphasizes pronouncing it. But as we're learning Sanskrit and we're learning to write it and recognize it, I want us to exaggerate a bit. I think it's always easier to exaggerate less in the future after you learn it. So here we have yoga, and then yoga, and that two long syllables in the nominative dual, because ow is a verdi, A-I-O-ow, and those four vowels are always long. And the way we write it in I asked is with two Roman letters, but it's actually one letter in Sanskrit, the ow. And the plural is yoga, yoga. The accusative is pretty simple, yogam, then yoga, then yogam. Now the dual, nominative, and accusative are the same. And the vocative dual is also the same. So if you run into these in a text, it's not always clear whether it's nominative, accusative, or vocative. But that's why Sanskrit is a great challenge. So we can figure these things out. Okay, in the instrumental, it's yogena, then yogabhyam. In the instrumental dual, all the vowels are long. And look at the dative dual and the ablative dual. Same word, identical. So it could be any of those cases if you run into this word. Then instrumental plural, two long vowels, yogai, yogai. Dative, yogaya. And we already did the dual, so we'll skip to the plural, which is yogebhya, yogebhya. The ablative, yogat. We already did the dual, so we'll go to the ablative plural, which is the same as the dative plural. Yogebhya. And the genitive, yogasya, yogasya. And then yoga, yoga, yoho, yoga, yoho, yoga, yoho. And the genitive plural, yoganam. The locative, yoge, yoga, yoga, yoho, yoga, yoho. I did that wrong the first time. Yoga, yoga, yo. It's an awkward pronunciation. Long, short, long. Yoga, yo. And then here's that cerebral sibilant. Yogesh. Yogesh. And then the vocative. Yoga, yoga, and yoga. All right, let's recite that out. Well, first, Elena.
Sorry,
No,
I
don't
have a
be
question.
sorry.
So normally, I'm always we knowing that if we have something, some word in a nominative case, then when we are given this name of the subject, like yoga, and
Yes,
we know only yoga as in this case and as vocative yoga. We
yes.
don't. Nobody knows yoga ha as
No.
normal normative case. Why it is like this? Why we not gain yoga ha? Normally, if we have nominative, like hand, glass, it's nominative something. So we using this case.
Yes.
And we using normally everybody knows yoga. It's a vocative case.
And it
Why?
is vocative. So what you've discovered and are pointing to is the everyday usage of our Sanskrit words. In this case, it's yoga. And the everyday usage form never occurs in the Sanskrit declension,
Mm-hmm.
only sometimes in the vocative singular, which is rarely used because you would never, vocative is the case we use to address someone.
Exactly.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
Elena. Then you would be Elena, you would be, if you were
Yeah, I call you Elena.
Right. So I can't think of a real case in everyday life where I would be saying, hey, yoga. So
yeah,
it's
but
it's
and why we don't have name yoga ha? Yoga ha.
This is just Sanskrit. There's no rationale to the declension.
Okay.
I mean, think of English. English. There's the word though, through, thought, all different pronunciations. Why? Historical usage is really the only answer we can give. There's no logic or rationale to the original forms that we're going to study.
But normally we know in the world, for example, if I say the cloak or cloak, a cloak, something like glove, for example.
Yeah.
So we use in always nominative case.
Yeah.
And in nominative case, yoga is yoga ha. So
yes. It's just because Sanskrit is a heavily declined language, heavily neglected. Russian has a lot of cases. Russian has a lot of cases. English has very few. But so the word forms are similar, but in Sanskrit, they're very precise. So the word yoga, Y-O-G-A at the top, is sometimes called the stem form, and it doesn't really appear. And the actual stem for the word yoga would be Y-O-G hyphen. Then you would add the endings. So you see in every single declension in this chart, YOG appears. And then there is a different ending for each particular case. So you pointed to a very important feature. We're not going to see the word, yoga or Buddha, or I can't think of any other words at the moment. We're just going to see their declined forms as we go through our texts. Okay, great. Next slide. Okay, so we did this last time, chapter 3, verse 25, from the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. Make sure we say those two long A's properly. The other ones are all short, the A's. So let's recite this verse because it's very beautiful and we'll just get started. Okay? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Open your mics.
Adyame sapalam janma sulabdo sho bhavaha
Adya
adya le jato buddha
Rosme
sampratam.
And what that means, the next slide, please, is very beautiful. And this is Geshe Michael's translation. Today, my life has meaning. Now, the fact that I was born has some importance. Today, I join the family of the Buddhas. Now, I am the child of the Buddhas. And this is a verse that Master Shantideva wrote for someone who was just taking their bodhisattva vows. So let's go to the next slide. Oops, my PowerPoint skills are showing. I need to find a better way to put more space between those. I don't think we can fix it now, sorry, but you can sort of read it. And Amrita, we still have the old font. We don't have the Sanskrit 2003 yet. We're working on it. All right, now this verse is a little more gnarly. What is gnarly? I can see the translators are upset. I put it in the chat. It's an English word that means, it means old, solid, twisted, not straightforward, not streamlined, very complex and beautiful in its own way, but not in a usual way. Why do I call this verse gnarly? Oh, that's nice. Amrita fixed it. Well, Master Shantideva is a very good writer. He uses many poetic and unusual word formations. Think of a good writer in your own language who might say things in a complex but beautiful way, but not one that's necessarily easy to explain in simpler words. There are a number of these unusual word formations in this verse. I mean, one example of this style of his is there is no verb in this verse. So we have to translate it as translators into our modern languages in a way that makes it understandable for modern students. And as we work on translating these actual Sanskrit words, it will be interesting to see how the rough mixed nuts translation, which we'll give at the end, does or does not reflect our literal translations of the words. Okay, let's see the next verse. And I think we're going to recite this one first. Let's go back. Yeah. Tataduna. Please recite with me. You can use either the Ayast or the Devanagari. Tata duna
Tata
Tata
Duna
maya
Maya Karyam
Karyam
vakulochita
Vakulochita
Vakulochita.
arinam
Karinam
Karinam
nirmalasya
Nirmalasya.
ulasyasya
Kulasya
Yasya
kalanko
Kalanko.
Kalanko
nabavedyata
Nabavedyata.
Nabavedyata
Nabavedyata.
Nabavedyata.
Yes. Okay, let's now have the next slide. And here is our famous split slide, Marina and Amirta, if we have prepared it. Yay! Okay. So here is the verse and the vocabulary on the left. And on the right is our chart of yoga declined. And I want to congratulate Marina and Amirta because they've spent a lot of time finding a way to put these two together. A split slide in Zoom is not easy. So let's go over. We have just about 5 or 6 minutes left. Some of these words and what they mean. Okay. So tata or tata, I'm still working on whether that A is long or short, is a word that means so or thus. Okay. Now, duna, I've written here, and we don't know this yet because this is a feminine noun ending in long and it's actually the subject of this sentence. And this is where the great subtlety of Master Shantideva as a writer comes in, because this word duna means sounding or shaking. It also means an ceremonial incense burner where the smoke from the incense is used to purify a situation. So I think we will see later that there is a very unusual meaning for this word in this verse. And maya is a pronoun meaning by me. And it's an unusual declension, which is not this one. And sva is a word that means self or me. Now, kula means family or community, and uchita means fitting or suitable. And again, karina is something that means the doing or the doer. Now, we don't know all of these other declensions, but let's look at the verse and pick out the ones we do know, which might be masculine nouns ending in short The first one, just to help you out here, is karyam. So what case does that look like to you? Looking at the chart. Which ending matches to some degree at least, the ending on karyam?
Dative.
Dative.
Say that again. I didn't hear it, the whole thing.
Dative.
Dative, singular.
Well, it doesn't end in ya. It would have to have a long A and the ya on it. It would have to be karyaya. But it's
accusative.
not. Yes. Accusative, singular, dual, or plural?
Singular.
Singular. That's what it is. So thinking about yoga, we said that to find that stem, we would take the A off and have Y-O-G. What would be the stem of karyam?
Kar.
Kar.
It would also include the ya. Hi, Duo Duo. Happy 1 a.m.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dodo has joined us from China, which is plus 15 to our class time. Well,
Check out my voice. It's all gone. My voice is all gone.
that's right. Mine is too. We just get used to that. Okay, so the stem of karyam would be ka, r, ya, with a hyphen. Kar. I mean, you can't really pronounce it, but then we would stick the endings on that. So what would be the nominative singular of that for that stem?
Karyaha.
Karyaha. And what would be the dual of nominative dual of that stem?
Karyao.
Karyao. Everybody open their mics and say.
Karyao.
Karyao.
Karyao. Two long syllables.
Karyao.
Yes. And what would be the genitive dual of that word?
Karyoho.
Karyayoho. Right, because the ending is a yoho. Right, so the stem for yoga yoho would be YOG, and the ending would be yaoha.
Karyoho.
Karyayoho. Two ya.
Karyoho.
Karyayoho. Right? Okay. And what about the genitive singular of that word?
Shaya.
No sha. That's a plain
Karyasaya. Karyasaya. Karyasaya.
karyasya.
Karyasya.
So you have the karya, then you have yasya.
Karyasya.
Karyasya. Perfect.
Karyasya.
Yes. Very good. And what about the accusative plural?
Karyaha.
Accusative.
Accusative? Karyas. Karyan.
Karyabya.
No,
Karyabya.
accusative is the second line. You're looking at the ablative. I'm sorry, there are two A's.
Okay.
Second line. Nominative, I should have put the full names.
Karyan. Karyan.
Karyan. Exactly.
Karyan.
Two long
Karyan.
vowels. Karyan. Yes. Well, I think that was great, but we're out of time. So we will work on the rest of masculine nouns ending in short in this verse for next time. And if we can skip to the last slide, Amirta. It's just the thank you slide. And I want to say that you are spreading the Dharma around the world. You know this. Please remember to dedicate. Do coffee meditation tonight and spend at least 30 seconds thanking yourself for doing this Sanskrit work and spreading the Dharma around the world. And promise me you will do that. All right. Thank you. Send me your questions. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.